Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe for shocking real-life stories of betrayal, secrets, and unexpected twists. You won't believe what happens next. I never imagined that a simple summer barbecue would completely shatter my world. My name is Ethan, and I've been married to Laura for 5 years. We have built a comfortable life in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Friends, family, the usual weekend gatherings. But beneath the laughter and barbecued steaks, something was quietly unraveling. It all began that afternoon. The aroma of grilled meat filled the yard, kids running around, neighbors chatting casually. I was flipping burgers when Laura pulled me aside, her smile unusually tight. "Ethan," she said softly, "I think you should go on the honeymoon alone." At first, I thought I misheard. "Excuse me?" I asked, putting the spatula down. She avoided my eyes. "You know, I don't want to go. You can enjoy it. Take the trip, relax." My heart sank. 5 years of marriage, shared dreams, and suddenly she was telling me to go alone? I wanted to argue, to ask why, but something in her tone stopped me. It wasn't casual. It was deliberate, almost rehearsed. Something didn't add up. I spent the next hour pretending to mingle, trying to shake off the unease growing inside me, but the feeling wouldn't leave. Laura kept slipping glances at our neighbor, Richard, the man who had recently moved in next door. Friendly, helpful, always around during gatherings. I brushed it off at first. He was just being neighborly. But intuition has a way of whispering truths we don't want to hear. Later, as I collected plates from the picnic table, Richard approached me, smiling warmly. "Hey, Ethan, I noticed Laura seems a bit off today. Are you all right?" His tone was casual, but I caught the hint of something else, a subtle invitation in his gaze. I nodded, but a nagging thought persisted. Why was Laura so insistent that I leave her behind for the honeymoon? After everyone had left, I decided to check the backyard fence. That's when I noticed something strange. Richard's car parked unusually close to Laura's window. The lights dimmed. A shiver ran down my spine. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Something was happening behind my back, and I was determined to find out what. I returned inside, pretending nothing had caught my attention. Laura noticed my silence. "You're quiet today," she said, a faint edge in her voice. "Just thinking about the honeymoon," I replied, masking the storm inside. Then it happened. Richard knocked at the door, casually holding a tray of drinks, offering a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Thought you could use a little company while Laura takes some me time," he said, his words laced with something I couldn't quite place. Something familiar, yet unsettling. I froze. The pieces were beginning to fall into place, and the unease I had felt all afternoon was now a gnawing certainty. Laura's insistence, Richard's timing, the way they move around each other, it all pointed to one undeniable truth. My honeymoon alone wasn't just an odd suggestion. It was an opportunity for betrayal. That evening, I stayed up late, replaying the events of the day in my mind. Every smile, every gesture, every word from Laura and Richard seemed different now, tainted with hidden meaning. My gut screamed at me. Something was happening behind my back, and I needed proof before making any confrontation. The next morning, I decided to follow them discreetly. Laura said she was going shopping for honeymoon outfits, but I noticed Richard's car parked nearby. I trailed him from a safe distance, careful not to be seen. What I saw confirmed my worst fears. Laura and Richard weren't just friends. They were intimately involved. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the chest. My heart pounded, my hands shook, but I kept my focus. Evidence was everything. I needed undeniable proof before confronting her. Over the next few days, I monitored their interactions carefully. Every text message, every phone call, every suspicious outing was logged. I didn't act rashly. I had learned from past experiences that patience and strategy always win over impulsive anger. By the end of the week, I had collected a series of undeniable clues. Photos, messages, and even short video clips of their secret meetings. Finally, the day came when Laura insisted I leave for the honeymoon alone. I packed my bag, pretending to be excited for the trip. As I stepped outside, Richard appeared, his grin too wide, too confident. He didn't know I had already seen everything. I left for the airport, but didn't go to the hotel. Instead, I returned home quietly, the evidence secured in my briefcase. This confrontation wasn't going to be verbal. It was going to be visual, undeniable. That evening, I called Laura into the living room. Her eyes widened slightly, sensing something was off. "Ethan, what's going on?" she asked, trying to mask her fear with a casual tone. I turned on the laptop and played the first clip, the unmistakable moments of her betrayal with Richard. Her face went pale. The confident, charming woman who had told me to go alone was gone. Every lie, every manipulation, every secret rendezvous played out before her eyes. She tried to speak, to defend herself, but no words could undo the truth she created. I let the video run to the end, silence filling the room. When it finished, I didn't shout or yell. I looked her in the eyes and said calmly, "This is why I couldn't just leave for the honeymoon alone. I needed to see the truth, and now I have it." "Sophia!" No, Laura was trembling. She realized that her careful plan had failed. I had anticipated every move, documented every betrayal, and prepared myself for this very moment. The power dynamic had shifted completely, and I held all the cards. I can explain," she stammered, tears welling up in her eyes. But I shook my head. "There's nothing to explain, Laura. You made your choice. You chose betrayal over trust, secrecy over honesty. This ends now." Laura stood there, trembling, tears streaming down her face. The confident, charming woman I had married was gone, replaced by fear and guilt. I took a deep breath, keeping my voice calm, measured, every word deliberate. "Laura, you've crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Trust, once broken, cannot be rebuilt so easily." She sank onto the couch, her hands covering her face. "Ethan, I made a mistake. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please." Her voice cracked, desperate for forgiveness. I didn't move closer. I didn't soften. The betrayal was too deep, the damage too real. I handed her the divorce papers. Her hands shook as she took them, glancing at the lines that would officially end our marriage. "Sign them," I said quietly. "It's the only way forward." She hesitated, looking for a glimmer of mercy in my eyes. I gave none. My world had been upended by her choices, and the only way to reclaim control was to see this through. As she signed the papers, I felt a strange mix of sorrow and relief. Sorrow for the life we had built and lost. Relief for the clarity that came with facing the truth. The betrayal that had lurked in the shadows for months was now fully exposed, and I could finally breathe again. I gathered the evidence, the videos, photos, and messages, and stored them securely. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about protection and proof of reality. Laura had made her choices. Now I could make mine. I focused on reclaiming my life, my peace, and my dignity. In the days that followed, I moved out of the apartment we had shared, packing away memories that now felt tainted. Friends and family offered support, and I allowed myself to grieve. The pain was sharp, but it was also a lesson. Betrayal is a test of character, and true strength lies in facing it with patience, strategy, and calm resolve. I eventually confronted Richard, not with rage, but with undeniable proof of his actions. The man realized immediately that I wasn't someone to be underestimated. The affair was over, and justice, quiet but absolute, had been served. Looking back, I understood the real lesson. It wasn't about catching Laura or exposing her to the world. It was about self-respect, about refusing to let deception define my life. Betrayal may break trust, but it also uncovers clarity. It forces you to see who people truly are and who you must be to survive. The honeymoon I never took alone became symbolic. Not a lost trip, but of a journey into reality. I emerged stronger, wiser, and more cautious, knowing that life's lessons often arrive disguised as pain. Some betrayals, however devastating, are the catalyst of the greatest personal growth. And as for Laura, she learned too, though too late, that deceit has consequences, and some choices can never be undone.